Witches, welcome back. So today I have a video all about witchy teas. Yum, yum, yum. Magical teas. First, a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I am not a physician. I'm not a nurse. So be careful when consuming some of these, especially mugwort, okay? So be careful, just Google the herb if you're unsure about ingesting it. Just Google how much you can drink and then you're all good. So the first thing that I think is really important when doing witchy teas is to use moon water. Charge it under the full moon. You can even do waning moon water, waxing moon water, dark moon water. It doesn't just have to be full moon. Just decide what you want to use it for. Like if you're doing a tea to banish anxiety, you might want to do it for a waning moon, because waning we use for banishing anxiety. And I'm getting ready to do a whole video about moon magic, part 1, after this. If you can, use rainwater. If you don't live in a state that has, or a city that has high pollution, use rainwater. Next, you can use a colored mug that matches your intent, or use the same mug every time. This is my mug. I love this little mug I got at Target a few years ago. But maybe if you're going to do it for divination, use a black one. Use that every time. Try to do that. It's not a must, but that's just a little tip. Next, stir it clockwise. You might want to invest in one of these guys. I've had this forever. You just scoop up the herb and then you put it in the tea and then you would stir it clockwise. Or if you're going to use tea bags, just steep it, and then if you're going to add honey or a cinnamon stick, we're going to talk about those later too, then just make sure you stir it clockwise. And while you're stirring it clockwise, maybe do a chant. You can do it out loud or in your head. Just a little chant about your intent for the tea. Is it for divination? Is it for manifestation? Is it for just calming? Is it just because you want tea and you just want happiness from your tea? Maybe relaxation. Just whatever intent you want to put in there. Just do that while you're stirring it, and stir it for a while. Some other magical uses of the teas I'm going to talk about. You can, of course, read the tea leaves. If you use something like this, you're not going to have very many tea leaves left because this kind of holds them in. I usually will let a few go, like after I'm finished, or sprinkle a few in there, just so I have something floating around in there. I like that. But you can read the tea leaves. You can also leave teas for offerings. I'm always leaving Hecate teas. I go to what she likes. I look up what she likes, which I know that by now, but when I started, I look up what she likes. Like I wouldn't leave her a cup of tea for like, I don't know, I wouldn't leave her a cup of, can't think of that many teas that she doesn't like. Maybe not jasmine. Maybe I wouldn't leave her a jasmine because that's too kind of girly. And maybe I've done chamomile once, but that was because I put a whole bunch of honey in it, and she loves honey. So just be careful with that. You don't want to displease them. You want to make sure you feed your altar correctly when you're working with the deity. Also, you can make it in large quantities and use it in ritual baths, especially during the full moon or before divination or spell work. If you're getting ready to do some serious divination, what you can do is, I'm going to give you the recipe for divination tea. Drink some, take a bath in it, and then get to work. And it will make a huge difference, guys. Also, spell work. If you're getting ready to do a money spell, drink the tea that I'm going to give you. Take a bath in it, or at least wash your hands in the tea. You can also do that. Wash your hands in the tea instead of doing a whole bath if you don't have time. It works. and also scrying. You can scry into your teacup, especially if you have a black teacup, but it doesn't have to be black. So those are just some other magical uses of tea that I came up with. So the teas, and I have a lot of herbs laying out here just to show how simple it is. I also will leave links, and they are affiliate links, but I get like a quarter when you guys buy something like this, because I found the cheapest ones, and they're organic. I tried to find only things made in the U.S. so that it, helps sustain our country. But anyway, for clairvoyance and divination teas, so for either or, you can use mugwort, yarrow root, or yarrow, I guess that's yarrow root, guys. Jasmine, rose hips, peppermint, cinnamon, hibiscus, lemongrass, spearmint, eyebright, elderflowers, chamomile, because chamomile opens the energy channel. You can add chamomile to any of these, and it will open your energy channel. Oolong, cinnamon, and bay leaves. Now, do you use all of those things? No. You could put chamomile and peppermint and a few rose petals, and that could be your tea. You don't have to use all of these. I just put the correspondences that went with those teas. I did a lot of research on these, and I printed them out because I typed them in notes so that I can put it in the description for you guys. So you don't need to take any notes. I probably should have already said that. You don't need to write anything down. Just listen and enjoy the music, and we'll just talk more about teas. Meditation tea. Meditation is so important that we meditate before spell work. It helps in raising energy. It gets you in that headspace. And even if you're not about to do spell work, you should still meditate at least once a day for at least 3 minutes, which 3 minutes is not long at all. You should try to meditate as much as possible. But for the meditation tea, chamomile, dandelion root, orange peel, elderflowers, cinnamon, mint, and mugwort, especially if it's like a spirit guide meditation, you definitely want to put mugwort. Anything tied to spirits, mugwort is your go-to. So luck, success, and abundance tea. So many people love money spells. They love abundance spells, which I do too. The calendula flower, chamomile, orange peel, ginger, honeysuckle, black tea. I love black tea. Green tea, bergamot, rose, and rose hips. And you can also use rose buds. I've got some right here. You can also use rose buds. Okay? So drink those before casting an abundance spell. And one thing that's became a habit for me is before I'm doing one of these for myself or for a client, I will wash my hands. I will steep some really, 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 really thick, heavy chamomile tea. Let it steep for about an hour and let it cool down completely, and just soak my hands and even go up to my arms, my third eye with the chamomile tea. I just feel like it brings in that luck, and it also opens that energy channel. Don't forget that about chamomile. I just learned that today when I was researching this, because I did not know. I always think of chamomile as just so calming, and so relaxing. I don't think about chamomile as opening energy channels. And maybe that's why it calms us down so much, is because it's opening our energy channels. So, the next tea that we have is Courage and Strength tea. Black tea, ginger, roibos, rose hips, nettle, and peppermint. So you can use any of those, a combination. Just find a combination that works for you and that tastes good, because you don't want a tea that you don't enjoy. Okay? Not all these herbs have the best tasting, they're not, some of them are bitter, some of them taste kind of strange, but find a mix that works for you and that tastes good, and then let that be your go-to. Okay, dream teas. I love this. Mugwort, because you want to connect to that spirit realm while you're dreaming. Peppermint, jasmine, chamomile, dandelion root, hibiscus, and lavender, because lavender relaxes us too. Healing teas. Chamomile, rose hips, green tea, cinnamon, and lavender. And I'm sure you could put some rosemary or some basil in that too. That would help. Like I said, you can add basil into anything and it amps it up. It might taste kind of funny though in a tea. For protection teas, rosemary, bergamot, angelica root, nettle, and basil. Cleansing purification teas, green sage. Notice I did not say white sage. The recipe that I was looking at, it actually said white sage, but please don't use white sage. I've already talked about that in a previous video. It is endangered. Let's not use it unless we have to. Lemongrass, lemon, angelica root, rue. Rue is so protective. It's been said to ward off demons. It's just really awesome. Rosemary, thyme, basil, wild cherry bark, spearmint, and licorice root. And I hate licorice root, so I will not be putting that in my protection tea. In my purification tea. So I guess in protection tea, you could also add rue. That would also work. You know, the correspondences, they're so universal. Detox teas. Anybody if you have a hangover or if you're trying to overcome an addiction, listen up. Red clover, dandelion root, burdock, Shishandra. It's spelled in the description, guys. It's a berry. And nettle. And I would mix all of those together and see what happened. If I was trying to beat an addiction or trying to completely detox myself. And remember, stirring it clockwise and putting in that intent of, I'm trying to overcome my addiction, banish my addiction. You know, just stirring it clockwise while you're putting that intent into that tea is so important. Chakra alignment, I've got that for meditation and grounding. Raspberry leaf, gardenia, bergamot, rose hips, chamomile, eleuthero, lotus leaf, and orange peel. And orange peel is another one of those. Mine is downstairs because I was working on money spells for clients. Orange peel, you can add it to anything. And plus, it tastes good in tea, especially if you had some fresh orange peel. It doesn't have to be dried. Fresh orange peel would be really good in any tea. And it opens up that realm to magic. Grounding teas, just specifically grounding. Licorice root, ginger, cinnamon, fennel seeds, or fennel powder. Cardamom, coriander, and cloves. Weight loss tea. Summer is coming up. A lot of people might be interested in this one. Rose hips, green tea. Black tea with no sugar. Can't put sugar in it if you're trying to lose weight. Any other time it doesn't matter. It's still just as magical with sugar. Sugar actually has some properties we're going to talk about. But black tea, fennel powder. The fennel powder actually reduces sugar cravings. So that's why you want to put that in there. Peppermint promotes healthy digestion. Ginger regulates blood pressure. And cinnamon, which speeds up your metabolism. And then vanilla bean. So I gave you guys explanations for all those things. Because weight loss, a lot of us are trying to do weight loss right now. Because summer's coming up. So next I have Peace, Calm, and Serenity Emotional Balance Tea. Chamomile, angelica root, oolong, lavender, and I put on this one, if you can do it, or if you're okay with it, a CBD tincture. Like not the oil, because the oil wouldn't be good, but like the tincture, which is just like a juice. Add some of that in there. And then danshan. I have never heard of that, but that came up today, so I'm going to get some of that. Ginger, peppermint, spearmint, either one, and then astragalus. Spirit work. If you're doing spirit work, mugwort, wormwood. Make sure if you're consuming those two, especially wormwood, guys. Wormwood can, like, they put that in absinthe. They used to. That's what would make you trip a little bit if you had enough absinthe. I don't think they really put that much in it anymore. But I have had wormwood tea because that's one of Hecate's herbs. And I've never had any really bad side effects from it except for just feeling kind of spacey. Look it up. Make sure that you are okay to drink it. If you have heart conditions or you're pregnant, if you're pregnant, you probably shouldn't drink any of these teas except for chamomile. But just make sure you're good. And then lavender is good for spirit work. Thyme, dandelion root, lemongrass, saffron, which is super expensive, but you only need like 3 little sprigs. Elderflowers, chamomile, of course, because it relaxes you and opens up those channels. And then I have just one more page. Told you guys I did a lot of research today. Okay, patience tea, which is one that I do a lot because I get stressed so easy. Rose hips, roibos, chamomile, lavender, lemongrass, hibiscus, and mint. And I put all of those in mine. I usually just do rose petals instead of the rose hips, but I put all of that in mine. And you can use spearmint or peppermint. It doesn't matter. Mint is just relaxing and it tastes so good. I love to leave mint tea for Hecate. Love and passion tea. Cinnamon, ginger, honey, rose hips, hibiscus, lavender, cardamom, green tea, and oolong. So you can pick a mix of those. Energy and focus tea. So if you're in school, this will help you. Or if you're needing to do something at work and you need to focus, or you're just like, you just can't focus on something if you're trying to finish a novel or you're doing something creative. Green tea, lemon, lemongrass, ginseng, green sage, ashwagandha, rosemary, and I put matcha here because matcha will give you mad energy. If you've ever had matcha, it's got caffeine in it and it tastes so green. It's good. So get you some matcha. I'll put a link for some good matcha in the description too. Confidence tea, ginger, black tea, and roibos. So for magical additives, lemon. I don't have any lemons, or I would have one up here. I'm out of lemons. Just used the last one earlier when I was cooking, but it removes energy blockages. And it also aids in digestion, but it mainly removes energy blockages. So if you know, adding lemon to any tea is a good thing. Honey, sweet little honey. If you can get local honey, spring is here, so farmers markets are getting ready to open with local honey. I can't wait. It adds love, sweetens situations, and it also binds you to the intent of your tea because it's sticky. So it's going to make that intent stick. So if you're trying to rid yourself of an addiction and that's your intention, then you bind that intention to you by adding the honey. Awesome stuff. And everyday objects. Bay leaves. They can enhance psychic powers and divination. It also can add luck. So you can add that to anything you want. You can just crush up. You can get a mortar and pestle. That's why I got this out. And you can grind up the bay leaf a little bit to put it in there. So you can use a mortar and pestle to do that. And then put that in there. Okay? Sugar. Everybody loves sugar in their tea. Either sugar or honey one. I don't know many people that take it plain, except for my husband and my grandmother. But she likes her black tea with sugar though. But with sugar, it adds love, luck, and success. Who knew that? I drink so much black tea with sugar that I should be the most lovable person, the luckiest person, and the most successful person in the world. I've started making my big pitchers of tea for the family with moon water and with intent. I started doing that about a week ago. That's what gave me the idea for this video. And then vanilla beans. That's the last thing that I have, vanilla beans. It's calming. It can aid in weight loss. And it also can prevent cancer. Whole vanilla beans. Go to Whole Foods. I looked online to put a link for you guys, but they were just ridiculously expensive. Go to your local Whole Foods or Earth Fair or whatever you have where you live, and then find that and use it. Use the, not the vanilla extract, but the vanilla beans, because it's really gonna help you out. So that's all I have about witchy teas, guys. This is moon water that I'm drinking. But when you get your herbs, if you just get loose herbs, they'll come like this. You can get these in tea bags, but think about how hard it would be to make a mix of 5 herbs with tea bags. It would just be ridiculous, and plus very wasteful. So you can just get your bag. I've got chamomile there. I've got hibiscus. Got some jasmine. Got rose petals everywhere of every color. Why did I say jasmine? Okay, I have 2 jasmines. That's right, I have the older looking jasmine and the newer jasmine. Here's the more of the flowers. This is more kind of crushed. This is probably what I would use for tea. But, and then the rose buds. I've got some lavender laying around. I've got so much stuff. I've got calendula laying around. I've got some cloves, some lavender, and I had some mugwort. This is what I've got left of my mugwort. But I need to get some more wormwood. I go through that really quickly. My shop opens tomorrow, and I will be there. But anyway, guys, I move my incense holder. That's all I have about witchy teas. Just remember oh, and I have some ginger. But just remember, the main part is when you're preparing it. The ingredients are secondary. It's what you do when you're preparing it. Okay? But that's all I have, guys. And blessed be, and thank you so much for coming. And I will see you in another video in just a minute. Bye, guys.